record. Yeah, and I'm going to share my screen. Okay, Janet, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thanks. Okay, thank you everyone for joining. And so my name is Karthik Suryamurthy. I am the Regional Commissioner for Foster City Ayso, American Youth Soccer Organization. And we are here to talk about our fall program, specifically for U7 to U14 kids. If you are a parent whose kids are not in U7 to U14, for example, if you're in playground, schoolyard, or U6, which is U6 and below, then you are in the wrong meeting unless you have a kid also in the U7 to U14. For U6 and below, we have a separate parent meeting on Tuesday, August 24th. So let's get started. So hold on, sorry. First of all, I want to highlight the fact that the past 18 months has been quite interesting. And we have still managed to have soccer last fall as well as this spring. And once again, we are able to start our normal fall program this year. So I just wanted to say a big thank you to the city of Foster City, especially the Parks and Recreation Department, because they have been able to make sure that we are able to use the parks and play youth sports in a safe manner that protects our kids. And also a big thank you to our community who have been able to support us throughout these challenging times and are willing to register and put your kids into our responsibility. Entrust your kids with to us. And so thanks a lot for that also. And finally, a big thanks to the Foster City Ayso board. And so all this wouldn't have been possible without all the hard work that goes into putting together a soccer program. A lot of hard work happens behind the scenes with our registrar, with our assistant regional commissioner, coach admin, coach trainer, referee admin, and safety director. These are the ones who work behind the scenes to make this program happen. And not just these folks, the Foster City board also has the division managers who are responsible for each of these divisions that have contributed a lot in making this program successful. So a big thanks to them also. So what is the vision of Ayso? We are very kid focused. We want to provide world-class youth soccer that basically enriches your children's lives. And our mission is to basically develop youth soccer programs in a fun family environment based on Ayso philosophies. And with this in mind, you will see that the way we play soccer is quite different from how maybe clubs play soccer. We do not necessarily play to win. We want to make sure that the kids are having a fun time. They learn the rules of sportsmanship, and it's basically a fun, good environment. That's what we try to focus on. It's about 50 years old and started in Torrance, Southern California, and it's completely volunteer driven. And the Foster City region started in 1975, 4 years after Foster City started. And so in about another 4 years, we'll be hitting our 50-year mark. So we have two primary seasons, spring and fall. In fall, we have a little bit more competitive soccer with teams. And in spring, it's less competitive. We are focused more on skill development. But both spring and fall have weekday practices and Saturday games. So in fall, the Saturday games tend to be played with other teams. And during the weekdays, the coaches will focus on skill development. So at the minimum, we will have a 1 weekday session. So U12 and above, which is 12U and above, we will have 2 weekday sessions. And I'm not 100% sure if U10 has 2 weekday sessions. Does anyone know? Janet or Justin, I saw you guys. Do you know if U10 has 2 weekday sessions, or does it have only 1 weekday session?
Just one session for 10U.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so 1 weekday session from U7, from 7U to 10U, and then 2 weekday sessions for 12U and for 12U and above. And the starting dates are over here, and the ending date is Friday, November 19th. 1 Saturday session for all divisions. So for 7U and above, everyone will be playing games from September 11th to November 13th. 10U and above will have a special competitive set of games, which will be sort of like tournament style for the last 2 weekends. So they will have, and this tournament is called the Herschel Cup. And so it will be played on November 13th and 14th and November 20th and 21st. And so these are the last 2 weekends before Thanksgiving. So that's when the season ends. So where will the games be played? So for those of you who are new, the games will be played in Sea Cloud Park. So Sea Cloud Park is at the edge of Foster City. And so the way to get there is, for those who are new, is you come on Edgewater Boulevard or Beach Park Boulevard and all the way to the end. And there is a left over here. It's called Pitcairn Drive. You take a left on Pitcairn Drive, and then you drive all the way to Sea Cloud Park. This is where all the sessions will be held, weekdays as well as Saturdays. So this is the map of Sea Cloud Park. You might want to take a screenshot of this for those of you who are watching this on a computer or a phone, just so that you understand the layout, because your kids will be assigned fields. So for example, your coach will say that the game is going to be held on S3 West on Saturday, or S3 East, or S3 Center. So these are and this is the map that lays out how the fields are, where the fields are, so that you can be familiar with it. So you might want to take a screenshot of this, or you can find this also if you Google it on Foster City Parks and Recreation. Moving on. So game format and rules. So please pay attention to this. So these rules are different for 10U and 12U. And obviously for smaller age groups like 7U and 8U, they are different. But for 7U and 8U, the coaches will go over how the game format is. So for 10U, there are 2 different sides in the field. One is the spectator side, and the other is the player side. So all the spectators are supposed to be on one side, whereas the coaches and the players are supposed to be on the other side. And the games are 7v7, and there are a total of 9 kids maximum on a team. There is no heading and no punting. And there will be an offside rule. So people who are familiar with soccer might be familiar with the offside rule. So 10U, we will definitely be enforcing the offside rule. 8U and below, we do not enforce some of these rules. 10U also has a special line called the build-out line. So it's quite obvious in the next slide. So the build-out line is basically a line drawn. It will be visible to the kids, the coaches, the spectators, and the referees. And it's and the purpose of the build-out line is for 10U matches. When the goalkeeper kicks the ball, the opposing team has to be behind the build-out line. This is so that this is to enable such that the ball is in play, and let's say a better opposing team doesn't always charge in and constantly keep scoring the goals. So this allows the team to basically take advantage. The team that has the ball to play the ball a little bit more before the opposing team engages. Is there a question? Yeah.
Yeah, there is. There's a question about what U means.
I think U means under. So
Yes.
basically 10U means kids under the age of 10. So, but above above 8. So that's what the purpose of each of these divisions mean. So 12U means who are kids who are aged between 10 and 12. 14U means kids whose age is between 12 and 14. Does that make sense? Okay. So I would ask parents to pay special attention to the build out line. So because when you're, especially the 10U parents, when you're watching your kids play, the referee might blow his or her whistle when the kids violate the build out line. So this is something that you might want to pay attention. And obviously your coaches, your kids' coaches will go over this in a lot of detail, but I just wanted to make sure that the parents also understand how this works. So just to repeat, if the goalkeeper is kicking the ball, the opposing team has to be behind the build out line. And this is to facilitate more, basically, this gives the advantage to the team that is kicking the ball to take control of the ball before the opposing team gets engaged. Okay. Moving on. 12U division. So once again, there's a spectator side and then there's a player side of the field. So, and usually the referees or the coaches or the AYSO board members who are on the field will enforce this. So please make sure that if you are not a coach or an assistant coach, be on the spectator side. The player side of the field is only meant for the coaches, assistant coaches, and the players. This is a short-sided play, once again, 9v9 and maximum 12 on a team. No heading still, punting is allowed. The offside rule is followed, but there is no build-out line in the 12U games. So just FYI. So I've gone over some rules so far. Any questions? Janet, is there any questions? Or anyone wants to ask any questions, feel free to. You don't have to.
Sorry, they're asking when they're going to get uniforms. I know Tracy's supposed to get those.
Yeah, I will get to that. I will get to that in a few minutes. Okay, cool.
One more question. Any specific rules for the 8U cohort?
There is no specific rules. Obviously, no heading is allowed. They don't have the offside rule. There is no such thing as the build out line. So it's usually 8U and below. We focus mostly on skills development, but they will be playing other teams and the coaches usually informally decide what's the rules that they want to follow. So there are no hard and fast rules.
Kartik, the one thing I did notice for 8U is just with throw-ins, just making sure their both feet are planted behind the line.
Yeah, so those are the basic things
that
the coaches will focus on while you are doing the throw-in. You want to make sure that both your feet are planted on the ground. You don't want to handle the ball, things like that. So yeah, those are basic stuff that the coaches will focus on. Okay, moving on. So with regards to timings and field assignments, coaches should have communicated. And for those parents and kids that have not been in touch with their coach, the coach will eventually reach out to you. So there is a lot of stuff that happens in the background. So we first of all recruit coaches. Coaches are completely voluntary. Once a coach has been recruited, they have to go through coach training, they have to go through background checks, they have to go through various certifications. And so all this is happening in the background. And only once all this has been addressed is a coach ready to coach. And so all these things are happening right now, and a coach will communicate with you eventually. So don't panic. A lot of things are happening, and we want to make sure that they all happen on time. And you will get an email from your coach about what team your kid is in, and what are the timings during the weekdays, and what are the and then what are the specific timings during the on Saturdays, and whom you will be playing and things like that. Couple of things. Once your kids have been assigned a team, that cannot be changed. So we take into account a lot of things. We make sure that the teams are balanced using previous year's ratings. Last year was an interesting year where we didn't have competitive soccer, so there were no ratings. But typically for older kids, we balance the teams. But once your kid has been assigned a team, it cannot be changed. So just FYI. So with regards to uniforms, jerseys, shorts, and socks will be provided. You will need to buy soccer cleats and shin guards. Shin guards are to be worn under the socks. The only thing your child is allowed to bring to the game is a labeled water bottle. No colored drinks or food is allowed on the turf. This is the Foster City Parks and Recreation rule. So just send a water bottle. Please do not send any colored drinks or food. The other important thing I want to highlight is no jewelry is allowed. No watches, no earrings, no necklaces, jewelry of any form. All your kid is supposed to wear is the soccer uniform and nothing else. The only exception is medical IDs. And so these rules will be enforced by the referee. I've been a referee for the past few years, and unfortunately, if children are wearing anything other than their uniform, we will ask them to remove it, like earrings or a necklace. And sometimes even if there are, I've seen kids wearing something related to their religion on their arms or necks. And I would strongly encourage parents that before the match, please remove it. And so that, I mean, these rules are meant to protect your kid, because they can get hurt pretty badly if they are wearing wearing jewelry or anything on their body other than the uniform. So please have a conversation with your child before the match and make sure that these things are removed. This is for your own kid's safety.
Hey, Kartik, I have a comment.
Yeah.
Just to add on to jump back to the food, if parents, if you could help the coaches remember that during snack time after the game, that can also take place off of the field.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So there will be usually a snack parent, and I'll get to that. That parent usually brings snacks for the kids after the game. So at that point of time, typically parents bring Gatorade, apple juice, oranges, all kinds of snacks. So please take that off the field. There are multiple reasons. First of all, there might be another team that might be waiting to play, so you want to clear off the field quickly. Second thing is kids, if they are eating on the field, they tend to trash the field, and which means AYSO, Foster City, will get into trouble with the Parks and Recreation Department. And if they trash the field, it's up to the board and the volunteers to clear up. So it's best that they do all this off the field, close to a trash can or somewhere where they can take care of the trash. Thanks, Justin, for bringing it up. I see some questions on the chat, or maybe some, is there anything, Janet, that I need to address right now?
No, I think you covered it. So ear studs are not allowed. So no earrings of any kind, correct?
Yep.
There's a question about practice. So 10U and below is once a week, and 12U and up is twice a week.
Yep.
And then I was a question about if a kid can wear prescription glasses. And I recall I had a child a few years ago, like they had to have almost like a goggle over their, I don't remember, but maybe you can address that.
Yeah, I think glasses are allowed. You might want to make sure that your child is wearing some kind of straps so that the glasses don't fall down and get trampled on and things like that. Basically, make sure that the glasses are secured. Okay. Moving on. So with regards to buying soccer cleats, one good option is Dick's Sporting Goods in Daly City. So you might have, you would have, not might, definitely you would have received an email from us with a coupon for Dick's Sporting Goods. It's 20% off. So if you go and it's, if you go for in-store shopping, it's valid only at the Daly City Dick's Sporting Goods. So for in-store shopping, if you go to any other Dick's Sporting Goods, it's not valid. And if you go to the Daly City Dick's Sporting Goods, you get 20% off everything. But if you decide to use your coupon online, it's 20% off only for soccer related stuff. And another option is, I mean, Big Five Sporting Goods in San Mateo, or you might even try the Target close to Foster City. Yeah. So these are the options for buying the soccer cleats and shin guards. And with regards to buying soccer cleats, when you're buying soccer cleats, pay attention. Do not confuse them with baseball cleats. So baseball cleats have a toe cleat right at the front of the shoe. And whereas the soccer shoes don't have any toe cleat at the front. So for example, if your kid shows up in a baseball cleat, he or she will not be allowed to play because it can hurt the other players. So only soccer cleats are allowed. I see chat bubble lighting up. Any questions, Janet, that I can address?
One question is about if you cannot make both the weekday sessions consistently. So that would be a 12U and up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so weekday sessions are optional. I mean, they are for skills development. Obviously, I think it's up to the parent and the coach to come to some kind of agreement on how many sessions you can make, your kid can make it into. Definitely, I would say the Saturday games are important because your coach is depending on your kid to be there, because the coach will have a plan and a strategy based on the whole team being there. So definitely make sure that your kids are coming for the Saturday games so that the coach can plan properly. I think if you cannot make it to one of the sessions for 12U and above during the weekdays, I think that should be fine, but just work it out with the coach.
Another question is about hearing from a coach, which you mentioned earlier that you should hear by the end of the week.
I think, yeah, that would be reasonable. If you don't hear by the end of this week, reach out to me. My email address is pretty straightforward, rc@aysofc.org, and I can put you in touch with the right division manager for your child.
Another question, anyone know if the selection is better at Dick's or Big Five?
I have shopped at both the places. Dick's has a better selection, but you might be better shopping online. Yeah.
Soccer cleats mandatory for 7U?
I believe it is, but I might be mistaken.
Justin just indicated aren't ever mandatory, just helpful.
Yeah, okay. For 7U, it's not mandatory. Okay.
Another question, if I don't hear from the coach, what should we do? How long should we wait?
If you don't hear from your coach by Monday, please email me.
And also just to check your spam folder, because I know things have been going there too. Stefan had mentioned that in the chat.
Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, please check your spam folder. There are, I mean, depending on who, I have had this happen in my family, depending on who registers the kid, maybe the email is going to a different account, or it's going to a spouse's account, or things like that. People, emails might easily get lost such in that way. So make sure that you check your account as well as your spouse's account, and also make sure that you have checked all your folders, especially with Gmail. They have these things with updates, promotions, emails can go into any of those tabs, and it might get lost in the flurry of emails that you receive. So just make sure that you keep checking and double checking your email.
And just to confirm your email, Kartik Kartik.
No. Let's keep it simple.
Sorry.
RC stands for Regional Commissioner at
Okay.
AYSOFC Foster City. FC stands for Foster City.org.
Okay.
RC at AYSOFC.org. And my
I'm
contact.
putting it in the chat.
Yeah, and I will. It will be there in the last slide. Every contact information will be there.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Moving on. So, what do we need from you, as in the parents? So we need you to be volunteers, right? So we need volunteers for a lot of things, right? And as a parent, I got involved in AYSO as a parent when my son first got enrolled. And the first thing that I did was volunteer in some way or the other. So like this slide says, being involved is the norm. So there are at least 4 to 6 parent jobs per team. Some of you might already be coaches. Some of you might be assistant coaches. For example, if your team doesn't have an assistant coach, sign up to be an assistant coach. You can be a team parent. A team parent basically manages all the logistics, like figures out all the emails. The coach can go over all the responsibilities of a team parent. There is something called a gender parent. So for example, let's say this is a 7U girls team, and the coach is the dad of one of the girls. So AYSO requires that somebody of the same gender always be there. So what that means is, while the coach is coaching your team, one of the moms has to be there, so that, I mean, this is just AYSO rules, right? So a gender parent has to be there. Or for example, if it's a 12U boys team and one of the moms is coaching, then one of the dads has to be there, right? So you can sign up to be a gender parent. Every team has a banner. So you can sign up to be a banner parent. You can basically come up with an idea for the banner, order the banner, and then every Saturday when your team plays, you come with the banner and set up the banner on the side of the field, right? So that's what the banner parent does. Snack scheduler. So you basically talk to all the parents. So like I said, at the end of every game, the kids are tired, they are hungry. And so usually a parent gets snacks for all the kids in the team. So there are multiple Saturday games over multiple weekends. And so a parent can be a snack scheduler, just making sure that you rotate through all the parents who are supposed to bring snacks, send them reminders and things like that. So there are a lot of things that parents can do, and your coach will be talking to you about this when he meets you as well as your kids. So sign up for these jobs. Do not hesitate. The coach is doing, I wouldn't say, the coach is doing a big favor for everyone on the team by signing up to coach. If there was no coach, we would have refunded all your kids and you would not be part of AYSO. Your kids would not be playing in fall. So your coach is already doing a lot of work. So help him or help her out as much as you can. I'll pause now. Any questions on this? Janet, are there any questions on the chat?
No.
Okay, cool. So we need a lot of referees. So especially 10U and above, the games are competitive. And this year, because of COVID or whatever reason, we haven't been able to sign up a lot of referee volunteers. If if you have kids who are 12 plus and want to do something useful with their time on a Saturday, they can sign up to be a referee. If you are a parent and you want you want to basically understand the rules of the game or just want to help out, feel free to sign up as a referee. We provide training. All the youth referees as well as the adult referees get a free uniform, and they get mentoring with experienced referees. Do not, I mean, of all the things that we need from the parents, this is probably the most important thing that you can do. Even your coach, when he or she meets you for the first time, will probably bring this up and say that, hey, can someone be a referee while during our games? I started with AYSO Foster City as a referee. My first game was pretty stressful, but believe me, I started only as a linesman, and I had a very experienced center referee who helped me through all this. And after some time, it just became second nature. So while it might sound scary, it's just like learning a new skill, and that's about it. And it's very gratifying because you get to see the kids having fun, and you get to make sure that the kids are having fun and games don't get ugly or they all follow the rules. You teach the kids the rules of the laws of the game and things like that. So please sign up for being a referee. I know Justin is a referee also. Justin, you want to add anything? Maybe he's on mute. That's fine. Janet, any questions?
No, if there's something on there that I feel like I can address, I've done that.
Okay, great. Thanks. Janet, are you a referee also? Maybe you are. I don't know.
No, as a coach I was, but I was just thinking that like there was, some circumstances when I was 8U coach. I mean, I had to referee. And so I shared it with the other coach. I said, I'll take the first half, you take the second. So, it all depends on how many volunteers we have. And sometimes we have to wear multiple hats, but
yeah,
it's just part of being a coach and, part of being part of the organization. So,
yeah. And so that's what I was trying to highlight. As a coach, you already have a lot of responsibility, and sometimes it helps if the parents step up to be at least a linesman. A linesman is just you're walking the sidelines to at least check whether the ball has gone out or not. So sometimes you can volunteer to do that. Okay, moving on. So we are under interesting times. So the pandemic is not over. And so we would definitely encourage all parents to go through the safety checklist before you send your kid out for either practice on weekdays or your game on Saturday. So make sure that, this is the standard checklist that everyone asks, whether you go into your kid's doctor's office or you set up an appointment somewhere else, right? So make sure that your kid is not having any of these symptoms. They have not been exposed to someone who is COVID positive, or for example, if they have traveled internationally, just make sure that you quarantine for some time. So most importantly, if in doubt, play it safe, especially at these times. If a kid comes in contact with a COVID positive person, then the whole team will have to be quarantined. So just play it safe and don't take any chances. If a player is exposed to a COVID positive person or test positive for COVID-19, notify your coach right away, and everything will be handled in a very confidential manner. Only our safety director will be involved, and no information is shared to anyone else other than the coach and the safety director. So just make sure that your coach is notified. Another checklist. So before I move on, so folks might want to take a screenshot of this so that you can check for this before you send your kid off to play, either on a weekday or Saturday game. I'll just hang around here for a few seconds. Cool. And folks might want to take a screenshot of this also. So this is just a checklist of what you want to bring. So just make sure that your kid is wearing a clean soccer uniform, wearing shin guards, soccer cleats or sneakers, depending on the age group. A mask or a face covering is strongly encouraged. A water bottle, and if your kid wants to bring hand sanitizer, that's also great. Before your child leaves home, make sure that he or she uses the restroom. So there is a reason for this. So obviously, I mean, restrooms are high contact areas, and the Foster City Parks and Recreation cleans the restrooms in the Sea Cloud only during the night. So as a precaution, you just want to make sure that your child has used the restroom. Also, from a coach's perspective, this is really helpful. Let's say on a weekday session, let's say the coach is in the middle of a session, and if your child wants to use the restroom, the coach cannot just let the child just walk by himself or herself. And this is why having an assistant coach or a gender parent is really helpful. The assistant coach and the gender parent can accompany the child to the restroom and back. But let's say there is no assistant coach or a gender parent, and the coach basically has to stop the whole session, take the whole team with him or her, and make sure to the restroom, and then walk back with the whole team. So because the coach cannot leave the kids unattended. So there are multiple benefits of just making sure that your child has used the restroom before itself. Okay, and also this just emphasizes the fact that if your coach doesn't have an assistant coach or a gender parent, just make sure that one of you volunteers. Okay, take a screenshot of this slide also so that you can go through this before your child comes out to play.
Kartik, can we add in there about the snack shack?
I was going, there is a separate slide for the snack shack.
Okay, never mind.
Thanks. Yeah, so when in doubt, stay home. And then additional COVID guidelines, right? Masks are strongly encouraged. We are just following the California Department of Public Health guidelines. Foster City AYSO will not enforce any of these guidelines. We are just encouraging people to wear masks. We will not enforce that kids have to wear masks, or parents or coaches and spectators. We don't want to be in that business. We just want to make sure that the kids have play in a safe and sound manner, and that's all we want to focus on. These guidelines are subject to change. For example, depending on how the situation evolves, if Foster City, San Mateo County, or the state of California changes its guidelines, then we'll update the guidelines and email everyone. Any questions?
There is one. Do assistant coaches get a uniform?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to touch base with Tracy, who is the uniform purchaser. Not 100% sure whether assistant coaches get the uniform or not.
I don't think so, but yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
We didn't 2 years ago, unless something has changed.
Okay, then the answer is no. Assistant coaches don't get a uniform. But I don't think that should stop you from volunteering to be an assistant coach. Uniform costs very little amount of money. So yeah, don't be disheartened by that. Okay, this slide is mostly for parking. So these are where all the fields are. There is a very small parking lot over here. I would say try not to park here, because everybody who tries to park here, there's a traffic backup, and I've seen people get frustrated trying to pull out of this place and trying to enter the space. I would say just leave this for the coaches, because they are the ones who are hauling the equipment like soccer balls and whatever they have to bring. So they have to bring at least multiple bags and let them park over here so that they can be close to the fields. Parents should park on Pitcairn Drive, and to some extent they can park on Sea Cloud Drive, but there is a lot of all this parking lots have been blocked off due to the levee construction. And I believe Sea Cloud Drive, after some time, you cannot park. So plan on parking on Pitcairn Drive only. And believe me, on Saturdays, parking can become quite a hassle. So plan your trips properly. So if your game is at, let's say 11 a.m. and the coach wants you to be there at 10:30 so that the kids can warm up, you might want to at least give 10 to 15 minutes for trying to find parking. So plan on getting there by 10:15. So this is a pretty big field area, and we used to have a lot of parking, but now the parking options have reduced a lot due to the levee construction. So give yourself some time so that you're not stressed. Cool. Moving on. Okay, just some final pieces of advice. So all this we are doing just for the kids, and kids are our number one priority. For Foster City AYSO, that's our number one priority. We will be the board members, as well as the division managers, as well as the coaches and the referees, we are all looking out for kids only. And we want to make sure that the kids are having fun. And so winning is not that important. You will see often when your team is winning that the coach might decide to either take out the player who is scoring the most goals or move the player to a defensive position. We have specific rules where a team should not be leading with more than 4 goals. So for example, if a team is leading with 3 goals, let's say the score is 4-1, you might see the coach making changes. And so don't be disappointed that the best player is not playing anymore. So that is our philosophy. It basically builds good sportsmanship, and the responsibility of the parents as well as the spectators is only to cheer and let the coaches coach. And the same applies to referees also. Respect the referee's decision. A lot of times the youth referee might be making a decision and the youth referee has to make a split-second decision. And you might not agree with that decision, but respect it. If you seriously disagree with how the referee is refereeing, then volunteer to be a referee. It's as simple as that. Once again, since kids are our priority, no swearing, smoking, or alcohol. If any of this behavior is observed, the board members will intervene, or we might just call the cops. The last thing you want to do is set a bad example for your kids. So at the end, these are just kids playing soccer. So just think about it like that. So everybody just take it easy and do not be stressed. Parents and gender parents, like I think I've gone over all this. Parents, just make sure that you cheer and don't try to coach or referee. If you want to coach or referee, volunteer for those positions. Pick up your children on time. This is not, we are not babysitters. The coaches are not babysitters. Once the game is over, the coach would like to go to his or her house. So make sure that you are there to pick up your children, even on weekday sessions, and follow the kids' own rules and just set a good example. And I think I've gone over the gender parents required when coaches and players are of different gender, must be present for all practices and games. So if you sign up for a gender parent, just make sure that you're present. United coaches, and so these are mostly coaches. So United is the club aspect of AYSO. It started in Foster City, now it's in Foster City and San Mateo. And so previously, we used to have coaches from UK International Soccer coach some of our younger kids, U6 and below, as well as train some of our new coaches, as well as the coaches who are basically coaching the younger kids. This time, instead of UK International Soccer, we are going with United coaches. So you might see them. So for example, if your coach is unavailable on a certain day, you might see one of these faces stepping in for your coach. And so I just wanted to share this. These are all very experienced coaches and they know how to handle kids. And so I just want to make sure that you're not surprised when you see one of these faces instead of your coach. It's because your coach has not been able to attend a session for a specific day for some reason, or maybe your coach is unsure about how to do a specific part of the training with regards to your kids, and he or she is getting help from these three coaches, United coaches. Okay. So these are the important dates. You might want to take a screenshot of this, or I mean, this anyway, this will be available on YouTube, but if you want to take a screenshot, feel free to. First day of the season, which is a Saturday, is September 11th. Picture day Kick-A-Thon is September 26th. Silent Saturday is October 9th. Last regular fall season game is November 13th. Herschel Cup for 10U to 14U is November 13th, 14th, and 21st. Area tournament and section tournament. So I will explain to you what Silent Saturday is, and Justin can explain to you what Picture Day and Kick-A-Thon is. So Silent Saturday is, we do this every season. We expect just the coaches, not even the coaches, we just expect the kids to figure out the game by themselves. So we expect the coaches as well as the parents to be quiet, and we just give the kids the complete autonomy to figure out how to play. So while they are playing, nobody should be yelling. You should be hearing only the kids talking to each other and the referees talking to each other. The coach can talk to the kids during the quarter breaks or halftime, but that's about it. No coach can be yelling and no parents can be yelling. And so this is what Silent Saturday is. It's fun. And it is a good experience for parents to see how kids make decisions by themselves when everyone is quiet, and it's a great experience. Justin, you want to talk about Picture Day and Kick-A-Thon?
Sure. So Picture Day is basically what it sounds like. It's the opportunity for everyone to get, all the players to get photos. There's opportunities to do like little tiny group photos with friends or siblings. And also we take a team picture and there's different packages you can purchase. It's just like school pictures pretty much. And concurrently with that, we have what we call Kick-A-Thon, and Kick-A-Thon is a fundraiser that we have just to raise funds for the league so we can purchase equipment. And a large portion of it has in the past gone to fields. And so it's a way that we can help the city pay for the beautiful turf fields that we have and also maintain them past when they're initially installed. It's actually pretty costly to maintain those turf fields. And so contributions from Kick-A-Thon go to funding that. And typically kind of the idea of Kick-A-Thon is the kids get to get 3 chances to kick the ball as far as they can. And donors can donate by the foot, or they can make flat donations. And so we kind of look forward to that to give a little extra funding to the league.
Thanks, Justin.
Sure.
And so just a little bit more on the tournaments. So the teams that win the Herschel Cup in each division, so 10U girls, 10U boys, 12U girls, 12U boys, 14U girls, and 14U boys. So in these 6 divisions, the teams that win those divisions will go on to play in the area tournament, which means they will be playing other regions like Redwood City, San Carlos, San Mateo, Hillsborough, and things, regions like that. And so for, let's say the Foster City 12U girls also, 12U girls that won the Herschel Cup also wins the area tournament. Then they go to play the section tournament, and which means they will be playing teams from, so the section, for example, we are part of area 2N, which is the Bay Area, mostly from, I would say, from Burlingame till Menlo Park, Atherton. And so that is our area. And so the section tournament is basically between the different areas. And so if your team is winning, so make sure that you are able to support your child throughout all this and bring them to the games, and so that they can continue to play. So just FYI on that.
Kartik, can we talk a little bit about our first day of the season, which is typically known as opening day? There's a question if there's going to be a parade.
Yes. So the board decided, given the current situation, we would not have a big opening day event. Obviously, folks who have been here for a long time know that Foster City opening day is a big deal. AYSO opening day is a big deal, where we have all the parents and the kids at Sea Cloud, and we typically have a guest giving a speech. We have the national anthem. It's basically a festive occasion. We were planning to do that, but given the number of cases due to the Delta variant, we just decided that a large congregation of people would not be a responsible choice by Foster City AYSO. So, but that doesn't mean that we are not going to have a festive opening day. We are exploring various options. We want to make it fun, especially for the kids who are coming back to play after a long time. And so Janet, I would say, is the opening day, has a lot of interesting ideas for the opening day, and we are trying to figure out what is possible and what's not. So stay tuned, and we will send out emails as to what we finally end up planning for opening day. What we will not do is have a large group of people congregating at Sea Cloud at the same time. That's not something that we will be doing this year. Okay, moving on. So for those of you who have been here for quite some time, you might be familiar with the Snack Shack. So Snack Shack is near the Sea Cloud restrooms, and it has always been open during fall and spring soccer season, as well as Little League. This is a great place used to be a great place for kids to, kids, parents, coaches, referees to go get a snack while they are at Sea Cloud. So Foster City AYSO has been running the Snack Shack for quite some time. And the person who was running the snack, obviously it's a lot of work. And the person who was running the Snack Shack has decided to retire and not run this anymore. And no other youth organization has also decided to, other youth organizations have also decided that nobody basically stepped up to volunteer to run the Snack Shack. So what is going to happen is that the city is going to figure out a vendor to run the Snack Shack. But the city might, we are not aware of the city's timelines. So we are not sure if it will be open. So do not plan on the Snack Shack being open. So make sure that you bring your own food and drink. But the caveat is, do not bring your food and drink onto the turf fields. And that was about the Snack Shack. Finally, obviously we live in the Bay Area, and air quality is important. Anyone who must have stepped out of their house in Foster City yesterday or today must have seen how the sun looks. So air quality will decide whether games will be played or not. We use purple air to decide what's the AQI. So AQI greater than 150, games will be cancelled. AQI less than 150, we leave the decision to the parents. Based on the condition of your child, you can decide whether your child is ready to play or is able to play, whether during a practice session or for the Saturday game. So for weekday sessions, coach will decide, as in the coach will decide whether the weekday session is happening or not, and the coach will communicate. It's the responsibility of the coach to check on Purple Air and communicate to the parents. So during weekday sessions, if you are concerned about air quality, do not reach out to me or anyone on the AYSO board, because we don't know, because air quality changes very quickly. So reach out to your coach and figure out whether there is going to be an evening session or not. Okay. So the coach will be the ultimate decision maker during weekday sessions. On Saturdays, AYSO will decide. Obviously, the sessions start pretty early in the morning, so we will make a pretty quick decision in the morning, whether if the air quality is worse, then all games will be canceled, and yeah, and you will get an email. So on days the air quality is bad, just make sure that you check your email. And we use Purple Air, and the coaches will be using Purple Air. And if you're using something else, you are free to, but make sure that you are also monitoring Purple Air, because that's what we will be using to make our decisions. Okay, moving on. So finally, this is pretty much at the end of our presentation. So this is all the contact information. If you want to take a screenshot of this, feel free to. So if you have any questions specifically with regards to what we have gone over this, feel free to email me. And if I'm not able to answer, I'll find the right person who can answer your question. If you have questions about COVID safety or even air quality, reach out to our safety director, and that's the email. And if you have any general questions, you can reach out to either me or just use the aysofostercity@gmail.com email address. Finally, as you can see, there has been a lot of effort that has gone into putting this program. One thing I want to highlight, that the Foster City AYSO board is completely volunteer driven. None of us get paid to do this. We all do this because we want to see your kids have fun. We have a passion for soccer, and we have a passion for the kids and the city of Foster City. That's why we do this. We don't make a dime out of it. And so all the registration fees, all the money that we make through Kick-A-Thon basically goes towards uniforms, balls, equipment. In this case, as you see, United coaches are paid for. The rest of the coaches are all volunteer driven. And then a huge chunk of the money that we make through the registration fees, as well as the Kick-A-Thon, goes to the city so that they can continue to keep up the soccer fields. So we are completely volunteer driven. We don't make any money, and we put in a lot of hours. And so we have a lot of open positions, and the board is made of people like you. So if you have some free time, please volunteer. So these are some of the positions that we have open: assistant registrar, adult league coordinator. So we also have an adult league. And if one of the parents, among the many parents who are attending, are interested in playing soccer and would like to coordinate the adult league, we are looking for someone like that. We are looking for a secretary. A secretary responsibility is pretty straightforward. They take notes during our board meetings, assign action items, follow up, make sure that they follow up. We are looking for a CVPA. CVPA is Child and Volunteer Protection Advocate. So this is the role that makes sure that children and volunteer are protected. And currently this is done by Tracy Delmonico, who has been a long-term member of AYSO, but she's also the Assistant Regional Commissioner. So we want to offload some of these responsibilities. We are always looking for division managers. Division managers basically coordinate everything that is specific to that division. So for example, if your kid is in 6UB, 6U boys, there is a 6UB division manager who is making all this possible. So we meet as a board the first Wednesday of every month, and the time from 7 to 9 p.m. And typically, most of the board positions have a time commitment at the most of 4 to 6 hours per month. So we are always looking for motivated volunteers. So please reach out to me if you're interested in being part of the board. If none of these positions interest, but you just want to be part of the board, email me. You can join our board meetings and see what you want to be, how you want to be involved in, and what interests you. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And right now, I am more than happy to handle any questions that anyone might have. You can either type it in the chat or you can unmute yourself and just ask me.
Kartik, there was a question earlier that I think we missed. It was any specific rules to 14U. I don't think.
No, there is no specific rules to 14U. 14U, I mean, typically tends to play between different. So, for example, I think that we only have 2 14U boy teams and maybe 1 14U girls teams. And so since there is only 1 team or 2 teams within Foster City, we tend to play other regions. So expect that as a parent, that your child, you will have to drive your child to maybe Redwood City or Half Moon Bay or Mountain View or somewhere, because we will be playing other regions.
I have a couple of things to add to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
As the age divisions go up, I don't know if this was mentioned in the slides, but the length of the matches will increase. And, you know, I forget at this particular moment what the length at each level is. But I think 14U might be up to 90-minute matches, like real soccer match lengths. So that's a little bit different. And I don't know if the 3/4 rule was mentioned either. So at the lower divisions, I think this might even stop at 12U. But we actually play quarters. Regular soccer is 2 45-minute halves, for those of you who are really familiar with soccer. But at the lower divisions, we play shorter matches. So they're not 2 45-minute halves. And we also divide them into quarters. And so to ensure that all the kids get kind of equal playing time, we have these rules that kind of ensure that all the kids play at least 3/4. At the 14U level, in the past, it's been a little bit different where we do more free substitution. There isn't necessarily the same kind of tracking on the scorecards that we do to ensure that all the players get that equal time. And it's just a little more fluid in terms of the in and out of the players. So that's a little bit different with 14U.
Yeah. Thanks, Justin.
Sure.
And the 3/4 thing is basically one of the AYSO philosophies that everyone plays. So we make sure that all kids get to play approximately the same amount of time. Any other questions?
There are questions about spots free for 7U. Was just trying to look up the wait list if I can do that quickly. Are games at different times? Yes, those will vary.
Yeah, obviously the games will vary because there are 2 teams that are involved. And yeah, so all those will be communicated to you by the coach. If you have questions about 7U open spots, I would send an email to registrar@aysofc.org. Beth Jordan, she is very good at responding. So send an email to registrar@aysofc.org.
Also, I don't know if this is official yet in terms of schedule, but on the FCAYSO website, there are tabs. And if you click on the calendar tab and scroll down, the first thing you'll see is this calendar that's mostly empty. But if you scroll down, you'll be able to see the practice schedule And you'll also be able to see, if you scroll down even further, kind of a rough idea of when the matches will be. They're populated by the team numbers, which you guys wouldn't necessarily be familiar with, but you'll get an idea. Oh yeah, great, thank you. Yeah, you'll get an idea even below that. And then, so down there, if Kartik, if you could click on, actually scroll back up there and click on one of those tabs on, like on S2. Yeah. So typically the matches don't really go, they don't really start later than 1. So mostly in the morning for you guys who are kind of interested in about when the matches will be. It's really, the scheduler tries to keep it earlier in the day rather than later. That's helpful. And this is all on the website. You guys all can see this, and you can tap on each of the little tabs. I think actually, Kartik, would you mind going to S1? The S1 tab. I think that's where a lot of the 6U matches are. Yeah. So those things don't really go past 2 o'clock. So just kind of to get a sense, and your coach is going to have, as we get closer to match time, the information's on specifically when your matches are going to be.
Okay. One thing I wanted to highlight. So as you can see in the older divisions, sometimes you might be playing another team from another region. So for example, in here, Foster City is playing Belmont. Here, Foster City is playing San Carlos. Foster City is playing Hillsborough. So one thing when I was at the area meeting was every region has its own COVID rules. And so the team, that is the home team, sets the rules. So for example, if your U12 or U14 team is traveling to Belmont or San Carlos or Half Moon Bay, find out their COVID guidelines. For example, Belmont, I'm pretty sure, has that everybody should be masked, should be wearing masks, and they enforce it. So you will have, your team, your kids will have to do it. And if, as a parent, if you are going to watch the game and you are going to be on the field, you might have to be masked too. So please figure that out by talking to your coaches. But I just want to highlight that if your team is traveling, and this is applicable only to 12U and 14U, the COVID guidelines might be different in other regions as compared to Foster City. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thanks a lot, everyone, for your time. And I really appreciate you all joining this meeting. And first of all, thanks everyone for registering your kids to play soccer. And we are looking forward to a great fall program. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Kartik, there was just one last question about the calendar and the schedules.
Yeah.
You should notice for boys and girls, it's not necessarily a color, but look for G and B, and that should tell you if it's girls or boys, typically. Yeah.
Sorry.
So,
yeah, go ahead, Janet.
no, there was a question. Yeah, so in this example, you'll see the B is for boys, the G is for girls.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
on that
6
12U tab, I think it's pink and blue.
Okay.
Because if you I looked at it closely because I'm the 12U person, and there
Oh.
are 4 blue ones, and then we have 4 boys teams, and there are only 3 pink ones, and we have 3 girls teams.
But there's
point
no
out
G or B. There's no G or B there.
Yeah, and I think it's because we do interleague. So a quick note, actually, this is just C Cloud usage. So for those away games that Kartik mentioned, those aren't necessarily going to appear here, because this is basically to give us an idea of the capacity of our fields in Foster City. And so, like, for example, on week 4 on 2nd October, I think Blue 1203 is missing, because that's Belmont. Yeah. Blue 1203 that weekend is probably traveling somewhere else. And we actually use a different website to track our games that your coaches will have access to, and they'll be able to see in addition to these home games, the away games that are in other regions.
Yep.
The farthest we'd have to travel probably, oh, I guess now we have Menlo Park, but Half Moon Bay, that's kind of the trickiest. So it's a fun experience for the kids.
Oh yeah.
But it takes a little bit more coordination.
At 12U and 14U, yeah, it's a fun experience. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Second time is a charm. Thank you all. Thanks for joining. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me.